Hello, this is Zeph, and I'm writing a novel called Zol, a web novel called Zol. XOL, Zol. It's a three letter word, and that's the franchise or, or story that I'm gonna try and tell. But I haven't published it yet, but luckily, I'm going to give you a taste of what the novel is about. I'm gonna I'm gonna read the first part of the first novel for you guys. So, without further ado, let's go. So, on a related note, this novel or the story that I've written has been assisted by AI. I know that AI has been getting a bad rep in terms of writing, that that defeats the purpose of writing. But what I do is take take something that ChatGPT or DeepSeek has written of what I wanted to do. If it can't do that, then just do something that it can fit within its guidelines. Put it onto a word processor like LibreOffice, and then delete some details that I don't like, and then add some more details that I'm particularly like myself. Like I write something that might can't fancy my interest that the AI can't write. So basically, I'm writing something that AI can't write. So I circumvent that by let AI do what the AI can do, and then I go back, delete some things, and rewrite it to however I want. With that said, it's I've written it. I just had AI help me. So just go easy on me. And none of this is final. None of my writing here is final. I haven't seen a publisher. I haven't seen literally uh, uh, haven't given this to anyone major. I haven't sent this to an agent or something because I haven't written a novel before, and this is something that's really new to me, and I just want to see how well it goes. And right here, I just got the file on my computer. It is called Zol, XOL, Volume 1, or just Zol, in case it flops. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, far beyond the cradle of Earth, lies the planet Zol, a rare oasis of blue skies, green plains, and life-sustaining waters in otherwise desolate void. Yet beneath its idyllic surface, Xol is unraveling. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce words correctly. I'm autistic, so bear with me. Plagued by dwindling resources, suffocating pollution, rapid crime, and a collapsing social order, the planet teeters on the brink of chaos. Civil unrest festers in every corner, and terror strikes at the heart of the government. Leading the charge is Lox. What's Lox? Well, it's called Liberation of Zol as its acronym. An extremist faction faction, named as a bitter mirror of the world they seek to destroy. Their enigmatic leader, the infamous Bloody Max, leaves a trail of brutal terrorist acts and a string of grisly sexually charged murders in her wake. This novel is not for everybody. I can tell you that. Desperate to regain control, the Xol government enacts its final solution, the creation of population control, a secretive and elite force simply known as PC, feared across the planet. PC's directive is ruthless and uncompromising: to restore order by permanently eliminating those deemed threats to society, from known criminals to deleted citizens, and above all, Bloody Max herself. On Xol, justice is no longer blind. It is armed, sanctioned, and deadly. Alright, I'm going to read a little bit of the first chapter, and then I'm going to end the video. Chapter 1. Names are for the living. The glass dome of the Lock Circle Bank pulsed faintly in time with the security network. Blue light rippling across a crystalline surface like a heartbeat. Machines buzzed behind teller counters, sorting currency chips and verifying retinal scans. People in drab jackets shuffled through holoforms, their faces tensed with silent urgency. On Xol, money wasn't power, it was a means for survival. It was just a normal day at the bank for these bureaucrats who look at ID forms and try to make their Xol issue quotas every week. Otherwise, another bank will simply buy them outright, yet keep the name as if nothing really happened. In Xol, companies come and go by each day, smaller ones being bought up by bigger conglomerates or even the Xol government itself. Corporate survival is an ordeal by itself. Then the door shattered. A shockwave rang out as the security barrier exploded inward, sending a blast of dust and synthetic shrapnel across the room. Screams arose. People ducked. Teller drones blinked into lockdown mode. A single figure stepped through the breach. This was someone who had just been deleted by the Xol government, and he was not happy about it. Not one bit. He was not. Barefoot, wrapped in a torn crimson coat that dragged across the marble floor like a wounded flag. His head was shaved clean, with jagged scars claiming his skull like poorly hidden secrets. In his hand, an old model ion rifle, shaken slightly in his grip. "I was someone," he shouted, eyes wild. "I had a name!" The customers froze. One woman sobbed in her coat sleeve. A man clutched his briefcase like a shield. Behind the tellers, an armored wall silently began to slide down. The man lunged forward, just as the security barrier began to descend. A hair's breadth between salvation and ruin. The air sizzled as his plasma rifle roared to life. Sorry, my pronunciations kind of mix up. carving a searing, molting scar across the pristine floor. The stench of scorched metal and ozone choked the air. Don't fucking move! His voice wasn't just a shout. It was the raw, gluttonal scream of a man unwavering. Every syllable trembled with something beyond rage, beyond desperation. The muzzle swung toward a young teller, Ellie-07. Her flickering hologram tag declared as she pressed herself into the corner, her breath coming in ragged, panicked hitches. Her fingers clutched at the console like it could shield her from the madness unfolding before her. The reason why she is called Ellie-07 is that she is the seventh teller with the name Ellie, so to avoid confusion, which Ellie you're talking to, she was given the worker name Ellie-07, as there are two other Ellies working from behind the register, keeping themselves secured with chairs and tables to prevent anyone from entering the bank. The other fours didn't show up, as it was their day off today. On an unrelated note, Ellie-07 had just wet herself in fear. You don't know, he snared, the words dripping with venom. What's it like to be erased? His grip on the rifle tightened, knuckles bone white, to wake up and have them tell you that you never existed. A shudder ran through him. His breath ragged. The memory played behind his bloodshot eyes like a nightmare on loop. They came into my house, kicked in the goddamn door, said my credentials were invalid, that my life was a glitch. His voice cracked, raw and broken. They took my daughter, took her, because the system said I wasn't her father anymore. Just data corruption. A wet rag sound escaped him, half sob, half snare. The rifle didn't waver. You don't delete a man and expect him to lie down and die? The metallic click on the safety disengaging cut through the air like a guillotine's drop. The bank doors hissed open, slow, deliberate, as if the building itself was exhausted. No alarms, no panic, just the sterile hum of hydraulics. Stay back or so fucking help me, I will kill everyone here in the bank, the man shouted at the figure who had just entered the bank. The figure that stepped through was a shadow-given form. Matte black armor clung to their frame like a second skin, seamless and unforgiving. No rank, no unit markings, just the cold, pulse-like glow of an identifier stenciled across the left paldron. PC-88. The helmet's visor was a void, reflecting nothing. No eyes, no humanity, just the faintest ripple of distortion where a face should have been. A voice crackled through the helmet's vocoder, flat, synthetic, the kind of tone that made skin crawl. You are unauthorized. I paused, just a fraction too long. Surrender now. You are in violation of Xol Code of Conduct. No deleted citizen are to enter a government-operated building. The penalty is immediate death. The man didn't flinch, just turned, his face a mask of hollow defiance. I'm already dead, you fucking machine, so you might as well do your job and kill me. You know what? I'll start by just killing this teller right here. The man now aims his iron rifle at Ellie-07 onto her forehead. She is now panicking, realizing she was now expecting a quick death. For her heartbeat, just one. PC-88-88 hesitated. The rifle's muzzle dipped ever so slightly. A glitch in the system. A hitch in the protocol. I'm no man or machine. I am a PC. Then the moment shattered. The plasma round struck center mass with a wet, crackling impact. The man's chest caved. Not just burned, but vaporized, ribs and muscle turning to blackened ruin in an instant. He didn't scream. He didn't even gasp. Just folded like a marionette with its strings cut, hitting the floor with a sickening thud. His rifle clattered beside him, still humming with residual charge. Blood, thick, almost tar-like, in its darkness, spilled across the polished tiles, hissing as it met the scorched floor. The stench of seared flesh and ionized air clung to the back of the throat, metallic and sour. Silence. Then a whine, high-pitched, mechanical. The teller drones flickered back online, their optics adjusting, their servos resetting as if nothing had happened. Ellie-07 signed relief, as this was just a close call. PC-88 stood motionless. The barrel of his rifle still glowed faintly, the heat distorting the air around it. For a second, his ID on his shoulder pulsed. Faster, irregular, then it steadied. The visor tilted down at the corpse just for a beat. Then PC-88 turned and walked away. 2 hours earlier, Born Pharmix smelled of anti-Semitic and aged wood, the kind of scent that clung to memories. Zephas Foreign, or Zeph, to the few who still knew him, leaned against the counter, his fingers tracing a familiar groove in the worn surface. Outside, synthetic rain streaked the glass in slow, grisly rivulets, distorting the neon glow of the city into something ghostly. The shop was quiet, save for the occasional hum of the auto dispenser processing another refill. His comlink buzzed. He hadn't recognized the frequency at first, just a string of numbers untagged, then the ID resolved. Elsa Flair. His thumb hovered over the accept key for a second too long. Elsa? His voice came out rougher than it meant to. A soft laugh crackled through the line. Warm, familiar, achingly so. Still remember my voice, huh? He exhaled, half smiling, despite himself. Of course I do. It's been, 2 years? Yeah. A pause. 2 weird years since that night. I, slept with you. He could hear her shifting. A faint rustle of fabric, the way she used to when she was nervous. Then she said it. Listen, Zeph, I'm calling to say goodbye. I'm leaving Locke, getting married to someone in District Red 9. Silence. His grip tightened on the con. What? Wow. Congrats? He straightened, suddenly aware of the weight of the old pharmacy around him. His shelves he stocked himself. The counter he sanded and stained by hand. His place. But that's kind of out of nowhere. Last time we talked, you were practically begging me to stay. I wasn't begging. Fine. Politely suggesting I don't abandon you to go hand out pills. She sighed. The same exaggerated sound she made when he first told her he was buying the place. Things change. People change. Not you. The words slipped out before he could stop. He backpedaled. I mean, not the real you. You were always too nervous to run off with just anyone. A beat, then coldly. He's not just anyone. Her voice had that edge now. The one she used when she's done explaining. I can't make you understand if you don't want to. Sounds like love, or you just want someone who is rich. He said, forcing a smirk into his tone. She didn't bite. The line went dead for a long moment, just that between them. Then silently, take care of yourself, Zeph, and be careful. Locke isn't the same city you left. It's beginning to look a lot like District Red 9 by the year. Oh, please don't go into loves anymore with Randall. I saw you with him a couple of weeks ago. Oops, I just revealed where I work. The call died before he could reply. Why foreign pharmacs? Zeph didn't just own a pharmacy, he owned the last stand. His mother had been a med tech during an Xolian black flu outbreak, one of the thousands who worked themselves to the bone in underfunded clinics, trying to stir the tides of bodies. She had died in one of those makeshift wards, coughing blood into her gloves while corporate meds sat safe behind their sterile towers. The day Zeph signed the deed to foreign pharmacs, he stocked the shelves with off-brand antibiotics, cheap synth morphs, and most importantly, real care, no quotas, no turned away patients, just medicine for people who needed it, even in the sector of Locke, where the Xol government had a tight grip on its economy, an economy that's about to collapse on itself. It wasn't much, but it was his. And maybe once Elsa had understood that. Now, outside the bank, PC-88 stood motionless over the corpse, watching as Clamp drones scoured the scene with cold precision. The acrylic smell of calorized flesh still hung in the air, mixing with the sterile antiseptic spray from the sanitation units. No one spoke to him. No one met his visor's gaze. He was just another ghost of the machine, faceless, nameless, efficient. But inside the armor, behind the layers of neurodampeners and behavioral conditioning, something ate. Once, he had been Cale Roan, a brilliant law student with a sharp mind and a sharper sense of justice. A brother who had promised his younger sister he'd change the system from within. A son who had watched helpless as his mother's new neurologs were dredged up. Her whispered conversations into dissonance, her quiet defiance, enough to damn them all. Compromising ideologies detected, sanctions approved. His name was erased, his family's record blurred. His sister was reassigned to a labor hub in South Tyrol, And Kel became PC-88, one of 100 enforcers bred to maintain order through calculated terror. Of the original 100, only 87 remained. The others had retired. They had resigned. They had simply broken, some in body, some in mind, all discarded like faulty hardware. A voice crackled over his comm. Section 1917 neutralized. False identity flag. No civilian casualties. PC-88 responded automatically. Acknowledged. Then the follow-up order. Proceed to sector hull free. Priority red. Possible locked activity. Hull free. A name sent a phantom pulse through his neural interface. The Hull Islands. A legacy of exploitation. Once a lush archipelago in the southern belt, the Hull Islands has been bled dry by corporate extraction. The ultra-rich siphoned its rare minerals, drained its aquifers, and left its people to rot in sprawling slums beneath their floating estates. The locals, once fishermen, farmers, artisans, were now just cheap labor, their bodies rented out by the hour to whoever paid the system's fees. 3 years ago, there had been hope. Princess Maxine Azure, the supposed heir of the Azurian sovereignty, had led a rebellion. She rallied the desperate, the angry, the forgotten, striking at supply lines, sabotaging corporate servers, whispering of revolution. For a brief shining moment, it seemed like change was possible. Then the system crushed her. Her forces were outgunned, her allies were betrayed, and Maxine herself was cornered, captured, and deleted. Erased from all records, her name forbidden, her fate unknown. Officially, she no longer existed. But in the underground, they spoke of Bloody Max, a ghost in the ruins, a knife in the dark. Some said she was dead. Others claimed she was still fighting. PC-88 had no opinions. Opinions were not permitted, as no one was allowed to have such things. They would incite an idea. Ideas like that were discouraged by his superiors. Yet as he stepped into the smoke-choked streets of the sector, his HUD flickering with directives, he couldn't help the traitorous thought that slid through his conditioning. What if she's out there? And what if she wins this time? And that was a taste of my story, Xol. That wasn't all of the first chapter, but if you want to hear more about the first chapter, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Until then, peace.